Africa. Wake up, Africa, your time has come. Open up your eyes and see the sun. Open up your spirit.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show, Africa Watch. How are you guys doing? My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Thanks for subscribing, guys. Thanks for all the people who follow the show. Thanks for everybody who's donated through PayPal. We've just, it's really helped us out this month, particularly with our little situation, which I'll be talking about later on this week. So make sure you stay tuned. Yeah, something happened at Dr. Mumbi Studios. A few of our brothers and sisters have been speaking about it, but we'll be sure to do a show on that. Don't forget to follow us on Patreon and hit that notification button so you know every single time we've subscribed. Now, a lot of people have been reaching out to me, telling me my fellow Kenyan was deported from Zambia. Now, PLO Lumumba, Professor PLO Lumumba, he was actually not even allowed to enter Zambia. And people have been wondering, what happened? What's going on? How come? We already know. Zambia is well on its way to becoming the first colony of China. If you haven't seen that episode, you definitely need to tune into that. And PLO Lumumba had basically been invited by the Eden University to give a speech during their graduation ceremony. Now, he was going to give a speech entitled Africa in the Age of China's Influence and Global Geodynamics. But before he even landed, when the Kenya Airways flight landed, everyone was let off and he basically disembarked, and then he was told to re-embark because he was not going to be granted, access to the country. Why? And, as a fellow Kenyan, what's going on? Now, what the spokeswoman said and what the home security people said is that PLO Lumumba was a national security risk to the nation. National security risk. Because I told you, Zambia is about to pop off. Like, there's a revolution that's coming. It can't be stopped. And, the government saw that, that Lumumba's speech would kind of just be that matchstick that's needed to kind of just make everything, But it makes you think, China must have a bigger hand in Zambia than Zambians are even thinking. Now, they said, the Zambian officials said that they don't have to give any excuses as to why they deny someone entry into the nation. And, the way he's been deported, I'm even waiting. What is the Kenyan authorities haven't even mentioned? Kenya, I've told you we have our own issues. I'm going to do a show on that soon. I'm not avoiding Kenyan issues, by the way, guys, seriously. But, a lot of people have been asking, how does a fellow African get denied from entering an African country? How is he posing? Because they said because of Zambia's public interest, the public interest of the people, that's why he was deported. Because they have to check who they're allowing into the nation. And this sets a really bad precedent, guys. It shows that when people start speaking out, the next thing now you're going to see these dictatorial puppet presidents of Africa doing is whenever someone is speaking out, whenever someone is calling them out, they're actually going to be shutting their borders to the Pan-Africanists. They forget we're on social media. They forget Zambians can actually access this and many other programs and many other speeches. PLO Lumumba should actually have done a remote, a remote graduation speech. Hey, I thought something bit me. Excuse me, guys. He should actually have given a remote, graduation speech from Kenya. And what you're seeing is, he wasn't even going to speak specifically about the Zambian situation, but everybody knows that China is pursuing a debt-trapped diplomacy by positioning itself to take over Zambia's strategic assets. I mean, we've discussed it so much. And it already controls the Zambia state media. Now, another thing is after he was supposed to give this speech at the Eden University, he was also supposed to appear on I think it's called the Diamond. Is that the Diamond TV station? And there was going to be a panel discussion on China's role in the country, what they've been doing, etc., etc. The truth has come out. I mean, it's like they're trying to push water back upstream. Is it up this way? You know, the river banks have already broken. Zambians already know what's up. I did mention I did a live stream actually with Phil on Sunday, and I did mention that the financial budget for this year or the financial bill is being read this week. The Zambians opposition party and some, Zambian civil rights people had actually applied for a license to be able to hold peaceful demonstrations in Parliament during the reading of the financial budget. Now, the police actually gave their go-ahead, and they said, they gave their approval, because you have to get a certificate. Yeah, that's how you demonstrate here in Africa. I don't know if it's the same all over the world. Let me know, guys. But here in Africa, when you want to demonstrate, you actually apply to the police, and you're like, okay, we want to hold demonstrations on this day, blah, blah, blah. These are the roads we're going to use, and then the police approves. Now, after the police had approved, the Zambian government came and said, you guys aren't doing it. You're not going to hold any kind of demonstration. These are tricky times for Zambia. Tricky times for Zambia. And meanwhile, a Chinese official was found training Zambians. I'll share that story right after this.
Wake up, Africa!
I listened to the Chinese president speaking in eloquent Mandarin, saying how the relationship between Africa and China is a mutually beneficial relationship. He spoke about Africa as if it was one country. He did not remind himself, in my mind, that there are 55 countries in Africa, or 54 if you ask Morocco. And I listened to the Chinese president specifically mentioning the Gambia and a few words on Sao Tome and Principe, that they were welcomed back to the world because they had renounced their relationship with Taiwan and they had now recognized the one China policy. Do I say this because there is anything wrong with China? No. I'm saying this because the Chinese are providing leadership for their people. They know exactly what they want for their people, and they are doing exactly what they want for their people for the benefit of their people. The question that I'm posing to us, do we know what we want for our people? Are we doing what we need for our people? And the answer is, I doubt. Why do I doubt? I doubt because at the end of the entire enterprise, the Chinese president said that he had given, or his government had given, 60 billion United States dollars to 54 African countries. Notionally, therefore, each country would be entitled to no more than 1.5 billion. Half of the presidents who are present in China, each one of them, half of them, can produce 1.5 billion. Sportsmen in Europe and America, including boxers, can earn $1 billion in a single bout. And we are here celebrating and singing the praises of China because they gave us 60 billion. Once again, it is a statement of their ability to recognize what leadership is all about. I'm submitting to us that when we interact with people like the Chinese, there is something to learn from them. We may condemn them at forums such as this, but there is wisdom in asking ourselves, how is it that this country, which about 30 years ago could not feed half our population, has in 30 years during our lifetime succeeded in pulling up nearly 800 million people out of poverty? How is it that every road that is now being built in Africa, whether the road is in Benin or in Nairobi, Kenya, or in Johannesburg, South Africa, or in Kigali, in Rwanda, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, there is a Chinese firm whose name I cannot pronounce as the contractor for that firm.
Wake up Africa!
Welcome back to the Dr. Mumbi Show, Africa Watch. How you guys doing? How's everything going? I'm reporting on fellow countrymen, fellow Kenyan, famous Pan-Africanist. This guy is known everywhere. Guys were leaving me comments on other videos like your countryman just got deported. And he was able to send a text from like his plane, like, sorry guys, looks like I won't be making it. Actually, it's not really funny, but I guess getting deported is not a fun thing. Anyway, so now, while all of this is happening, a Chinese national has been found training Zambian youth to be commandos. And what happened is these youths have been they've been seen in a camp, basically. They've been in a camp for 9 months. And you can see them here with their army gear and with a Chinese trainer. And Allegedly, this was being done with the full support of the Chinese government. I'm telling you guys, this is crazy. And I'm actually going to be doing a show on military occupation of the African continent, because it's crazy what China is doing militarily. It's crazy what other nations have been doing for so long. And we just need to be aware of, the seasons and the times. But now what happened is these youths had been trained for 9 months. And they had they were going to be like, agents of China, Zambian agents of China, who would be made to infiltrate the Zambian army and then take over certain Zambian wings. Now, by the time they had by the time they were arrested, they had become good snipers. And you can see all the guns they were arrested. Can you imagine? How do you come to my country, grab some youth and start training them to be snipers and gangsters? Literally. So what is China doing? Why are they training locals to be commandos? Are they trying to create a rebel army within Zambia? Are they trying to, do they maybe not believe that the government will be able to handle the backlash that is coming? These are the things we have to ask ourselves. And you know what? Back to the whole deportation of my fellow brother, PLO Lumumba. I really am going to try and get an interview with him, because he's been speaking out. He's like a Pan-Africanist crusader. And he's been saying how, Africa will rise. Africa will rise. And I absolutely love that message. But you know what? It's not the first time that Zambia deports fellow Africans, which is so crazy. Last year, South African politician and leader of the opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, he's called Musi Mamanak. I don't know if I got that right, guys. Don't crucify the messenger. Anyway, he was actually attending the treason trial of opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema. Guys, these names, they're hard. And he was deported. But what happened with him? At least they didn't rough up PLO Lumumba. They roughed up this South African opposition leader, took his phone, and then manhandled, literally threw him back on actually they didn't even let him off the plane. As soon as the plane landed, he just saw these policemen show up and manhandle him, take his phone, and hold him down so he couldn't get off the plane. Now, a lot of Zambians have argued, and South Africans at that time were arguing that he was just looking for trouble. He was trying to just position himself regionally. But South Africans don't even need a visa to go to Zambia. So what's up with that? Another guy, this Zimbabwe opposition leader, Tendai Biti, now he was deported. So basically, the Zimbabweans just had their elections a little earlier on in this year, and there was a lot of opposition. The opposition basically rejected the results. And what happened is this guy, Tendai Biti, he was one of the opposition leaders who allegedly called for violence. And so he was going to be charged, etc. So he went to Zambia seeking asylum. I mean, seriously, this is so crazy. And the Zambian government was like, hey, no, we're sending you back to Zimbabwe. But his lawyers managed to get a stay order from the Zambian law courts that allowed BT to stay. But the Zambians ignored it, put him on a plane and sent him back to Zambia and handed him over to sent him back to Zimbabwe and handed him over to the Zimbabwean police. And you know what? The reason that they're setting this precedent, you can see already, these dictatorial puppet presidents of Africa, they operate together. Because Zambia is doing that. So in the future, in case a Zambian activist tries to run to Zimbabwe, they'll expect the same to be done in return. Tricky times. You know, Zambia, it's like what is about to happen in Zambia cannot be stopped. It cannot be turned back around because the people must fight for their sovereignty. It is just that simple. But when you see people being turned away because they're going to speak against China, you must ask yourself, is Zambia still in control of China? I mean, wow, that would be amazing. But is Zambia still in control of Zambia? Or is China now even dictating who to deport and who to let into the nation? Because, you know, I see China's hand all over this. Anyway, we'll keep a close eye out. God bless you. God bless your family. Zambia, we're praying for you. Mwah.
Wake up, Africa!